Hey everybody, it's Eddie Inzauto, GamerNode.com, and I'm back again with another board game review. And the game is Rum Bones from CMON. It's a one-on-one or team-on-team battle between two opposing ships. And it has elements of MOBAs in this board game, with creeping crew constantly advancing upon your enemy. It's very interesting how they put this into a board game. And it has, of course, very cool minis. Let's take a look at the game and see if it's any good. I'll tell you my final thoughts after we look at the board. Alright, and just like you saw in Blood Rage, Rum Bones is another one of these CMON games where the figures come very meticulously packaged in these boxes with this plastic packaging. All the figures are very intricately detailed. They're all well protected. Very nice, fine molding, cool colors, and figures that look really, really cool. There's one of those characters. I mean, these are the heroes. They're all very interesting. They're all different. Very, very nice. Very detailed. Here's one of the captains. They're color-coded, where the captains are one color. The brutes are in green, swashbucklers in yellow. There's another one of those swashbucklers. So they're just all very, very cool. And you can pick up different crew expansions for Rum Bones that give you different factions with different crew members, different heroes like this, each with different abilities. And that's really cool. But that's what they look like in the main game, and some of the basic crew members, the bosuns, and the deckhands. Really cool. Nice minis. So that's that. I just wanted to give you a quick look at that. You take a look. Even these crew members, even these little deckhands are pretty cool. And you'll be manipulating those guys a lot, as you'll see momentarily. Alright, so this is what the boards, plural, of Rum Bones look like. These are two separate boards, each with a pirate ship printed on them, because Rum Bones is a game about two pirate ships passing each other on the high seas and engaging in a fierce melee battle. You have 3 gangplanks connecting the two ships, and you have 5 spaces on each of the ships that are objectives for the opponent to attack. You have your deck gun, your wheel, your mast, your rigging lines, and your armory. And all of those are spots that the player opposite you, or players, because this is a 2 to 6 player game, either one-on-one or any combination of any number versus any number, they are going to be trying to get at those. Meanwhile, you have these deckhands, and there should be 4 on each of the 3 starting locations, but I wanted to show you what those were. So you'd have 4 on this one, and 4 on all the rest as well. So that's the starting position of the board. And on each turn, players are going to be going through a sequence of steps. So each side will have 5 of these different heroes, and these are the quartermaster, the brute, the gunner, the swashbuckler, and the captain. So you'll have these cards on your side of the board, and the first step will be to prepare your crew. Now, only a certain number of crew members of these heroes specifically can be out on the board at a time, and you're going to be using these coins to help you perform different attacks as you play through the game. Each player has standard attacks, actions, and reactions, and these coins will power some of the more advanced versions of those. So each turn you're going to be adding a coin to the individual characters, the heroes, and they all have their own separate bank of coins that kind of work as these action points. If anyone has been KO'd, which is the standard terminology for killing a player, they'll get a face-down fate coin, which then switches to face-up in this phase, or comes off of the card saying that they are ready to be deployed should that player choose to add them to a spawn point on their ship on that round. So there's that. Then after you've prepared your people, you can fire your deck gun, which is rolling a certain number of dice to make a hit on any square on your opponent's board, and there's a 2-hit value that you have to achieve with that, and a certain number of dice that you have to roll for that. Then you deploy crew. Every round you'll be adding 2 crew members to each and every one of these spawn points, and then adding the special bosun characters 2 total to any one of the 3. And then after that, you have your crew members wherever they are. They constantly move forward. We can remove some of these. They'll constantly move forward. So say they were up here on the gangplank and there was maybe an enemy there. They would first attack whatever's on the square in front of them, and if that's defeated, if that square is available, because you cannot move onto a square occupied by an opponent, they will then move forward. This actually changes in the new version of the game, the second Rum Bones game, Second Tide, but for now, that's how that works. It's an attack and then a move if possible, and then even these new guys who were just spawned would move up, and that is your crew. Those are the crew. That's the crew activation. Then on each turn, you can deploy one of your ready crew. If this character is not ready, has one of these fate coins on it, they can't go out, but maybe our captain here can go out onto a spawn point. Maybe our quartermaster can go out onto a spawn point. And then those heroes can then be activated. They have a move action, which is available to them, and then they have any one of, we could take a look at Patchwork Porter here. He might use his Siphon Life attack, which has a 4 dice to hit on a 4, so he would have hit twice on his Siphon Life attack with a 1 range. If maybe one of those guys was there, he would have done 1 hit, and if there was a second guy there, it would have been a second one because we had 2 successes. Very simple dice rolling combat. It really works well. I like that combat mechanic. Then they're maybe a little bit stronger. These cost you coins, so he wouldn't be able to take this action with his 1 coin, but if he had 3 coins total, he could pay that and be able to make that special attack, the Soul Storm, which actually attacks all deployed enemy heroes regardless of where they are on the board. You know, maybe this guy was here, he would be attacked, and if this guy was over here, he would get attacked. Or another 3 could be the Soul Harvest. You can KO 1 bosun, which are these slightly stronger crew members that come out only 2 per round, and it would help your hero, one of your heroes, gain a +1 attack die that turn. And each of these heroes have 3 different special abilities that can be used to benefit the player, and they all have a different number of hit points, 10, 10, 14, 10, and that gunner we took away had 8. So heroes would activate, and this is all part of the same player's turn. I'm going to remove some of these cards from the board. Then there are these tide cards that players will have played throughout the game. They give you special abilities or actions or bonuses or whatever during your turn, or even on an opponent's turn. They give you a timing and an effect on each card, and you can play those at any point during your turn. But the important thing to note about these is that when they're played, they're sort of left out on the board because they have this Kraken symbol. So this is a deck specific to this ship and those characters, and then we have this crew may have played some of these cards. Some of them don't have that symbol, but say these are all the cards that have been played. At this point, at the end of each player's turn, you roll 2 dice, and if what you roll is lower than the number of symbols here, which it is in this case, the Kraken will come out and destroy your center gangplank. That gets knocked away, and the Kraken comes out and basically unleashes hell on this whole center area of the ship, pretty much killing all of your minion crew members that come into that range. It's pretty severe, pretty fierce. Each round there's a chance that they'll either attack on a 2 through 5 or dive back into the water on a 1, and then everything goes back to normal. Except you've basically had the board cleared to a neutral state. Sometimes a sea dragon can come out and come through and over the top of one of these gangplanks to fight whoever's in this area. And then if that is defeated as well, it goes away here. And your gangplank comes back. And the final phase of each turn, again, has to do with the deck of tied cards. A player can discard as much as they want from their hand, if they're cards they don't think they'll use, and draw back up to a specific hand size. At that point, play switches over to the opposing player or team, to the other ship, and that side does the same things. And again, I always say player because I think that this game works best as a 2-player game. It does have a separate section that says in the rulebook specifically playing with 3 to 6 players. So it's clear to me that it was designed for 2, but is adaptable to more. Now, winning the game is another thing you should be concerned with. You're trying to get a certain number of victory points, which are represented by this symbol on these objectives. And these you get by making it all the way to the other side, by attacking these features, doing the amount of damage stated on that card, and then when that is destroyed, it gets flipped over, and it shows the rigging lines. You may re-roll all rigging checks, and that's a special bonus that you get for having destroyed that particular part of your opponent's ship, as well as earning the 2 points toward victory. Rigging, this one says may reroll rigging checks. That's a particular way that heroes can move by being on this front line here, rolling dice, and successfully swinging across to the other side. And you do that if, say, the enemy occupies the gangplanks and you want to cross over, because you cannot walk through an enemy-occupied zone on the board. Again, every round, more minions come out. You can have your heroes destroyed, at which point they would get the fate token, which then, or fate coin, which flips over on a subsequent round. And then you have to bring out a new hero to replace them at one of the spawn points. So it's a big tug of war, back and forth. You know, me fighting you, you fighting me attacking your stuff, you attacking my stuff, and a balance between where to attack the minions, to let them fight each other, to attack heroes, or to attack objectives. And that's the game. It goes until one player reaches the set number of victory points, and the game ends. Alright, now I have to say that Rum Bones, despite it saying 2 to 6 players on the box, for me it really fared much, much better as a one-on-one 2-player game, where one player can dial in all of his thoughts or her thoughts on what that person wants to do with all of their crew members and how play will proceed. With multiple players, all the actions and activities being divvied up, it sort of detracts from the competitive nature between 2 players that the game does a lot better. And the way that it's set up, going turn for turn, works a lot better in a 2-player game. Now, the game is not really my personal style of game. Perhaps because of the creeps, the MOBA aspect, maybe I feel like there isn't a lot of direct interaction, character versus character, but sort of a distracted experience where you're trying to fight your way through all these little minions. I do believe that it's a solid game. I want to give it a 3 out of 5 on the GamerNode scale as it was published. However, We are coming up upon the second wave, Rum Bones' second wave. And the second edition of this game, which is more like a sequel, has made a lot of changes to the rules that really do improve upon the experience a great deal. One of those being taking turns alternately. In this game, as you saw, you do a lot of actions on a player's turn. You move the crew, you do the deck gun, you do all the heroes, and you go down this list, like this sequence of actions during a turn. And it makes for a lot of downtime, especially when you have a bunch of players around the board and they're all waiting maybe for one person to do something. In the new rules, taking these alternate actions is a big improvement. It makes everyone feel a little bit more engaged, and it lets you respond to your opponent's actions more efficiently and expediently, and it makes a player less likely to rely on getting so many actions at once where they can sort of turn the tide of the battle greatly in their favor. I did feel that in the game, as the rules were written, whoever was the first player, whichever ship went first, had a pretty notable advantage in the ability to get all of their creeping crew members out into the center of the board, and it made the second player feel a lot like they were fighting off of their back foot. But the new rules, which can be integrated into this first edition game, really take steps to fix that. That alternating turn structure is just a real big benefit. There's also the fact that the first player will switch every turn. You'll roll to see if the Kraken comes out, and then the first player will be alternated for the next round of play, which again helps mitigate that first player has the advantage sort of feeling. Point values for objectives have been altered a little bit. The win condition, the number of victory points you need to win, has been altered. Killing heroes now grants victory points. So there are multiple different ways to go about winning the game. So it's not really all about just hitting those objectives as quickly as possible. And you can balance your play to sort of attack in one area, defend in another area, attack, it makes everything feel a lot more well-rounded and just really a lot more comprehensively tested in terms of the mechanics of play working in sort of lockstep in a much better and more efficient manner. And then, of course, the crew in the new game will move and then attack instead of attacking and then moving. So now you have real forward progress when these little sort of insignificant crew members are making their march forward. It feels like there's another force really on your side rather than, for example, when the Kraken comes out, it eliminates everything on the board and it's just the heroes either trying to attack the Kraken or run past them and hit objectives or each other. That was a point in the game that felt like there was a big stall, especially since there's only a 1 in 6 chance that the Kraken will go away before it comes back to wreak havoc on the board. And since there are all kinds of expansions for this game, the different hero types have been sort of leveled off. Each type of captain has the same hit points. Each type of quartermaster has the same hit points. So in the new game, everything's been leveled off. Plus, if you really wanted to, and you can take this back into this game if you go to the Rum Bones Second Tide Kickstarter, you can go on there and grab some of that new documentation that changes the heroes in terms of their hit points and their actions that are available on each turn. Because in the new game, again, there's another change, that these heroes will be leveling up as you play. You'll have one basic attack to begin with, and then you'll spend your coins to buy new actions. And then you won't have to spend coins each individual turn. Once those are purchased, you'll be able to execute those as an action on your turn. Really, the Second Tide rules, when applied to this game, bump it up definitely one notch. As this game was created, it was a 3 out of 5. The new game rules, as applied to this game, definitely a 4 out of 5 preliminarily from a quick run through with some of those new rules in the old game. I'd like to play Second Tide itself to give you a full understanding of where I feel that game stands in relation to this one. But like I said, just from those rules, which can be implemented into this one, it definitely bumps the game up and makes it a better game. And so much has been revamped that it's worth doing that. But that's Rum Bones. It's somewhere between a 3 and a 4 at this point. As it was made originally, I have to say it was only a 3 for me. But I do have high hopes for the future of this franchise, and that's always a good thing when a company's willing to jump in there and make those changes to really redesign the way the game works and make it better. It's really good to know. So that's Rum Bones from CMON, a MOBA experience on your tabletop with a really good pirate theme, great artwork, and again, super cool minis. I'm Eddie Inzauto from GamerNode.com. Thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel if you want to see more of our videos as they come out. Please do visit us on Facebook at facebook.com/GamerNode and on Twitter at GamerNode, and of course at the website GamerNode.com. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a lot of fun out there.